Well, at long last, here we are, the glowing sea, named so due to the incredible amount of radiation present here. This entire area was ground zero for the nuclear bomb that detonated as we sunk into Vault 111 like a diglet. However, we haven't looked at anything out here yet. Well, that all changes today. Today we take a look at one of the government's attempts to provide shelter from nuclear Armageddon. I am speaking, of course, about the abandoned shack, or, by its proper name, Federal Surveillance Center K21-B, located on the outer edges of the map, near the Federal Supply Cache and Atlantic offices. When we first come across it, it appears to be just an old shack, but appearances can be deceiving. The ruins of a car rest just outside the shack, eroded by the constant nuclear storms that regularly ravage the area. And to be honest, I'm surprised this shack is still standing at all. It's made of wood. Radioactive waste can be found outside, and a sticker warning people of it also, most likely all part of the effort to keep people away. A corpse is found on the ground next to what was most likely their suitcase, and some food is still set out on the table. Now, I doubt anyone has been here recently, so this must have been left here from before the war. Now, this individual is in a lab coat, and they were clearly heading for the hatch, which leads to the surveillance center, so they were involved in it in some way. The suitcase confirms this, as it contains the key, as well as a note detailing how personnel related to this facility were meant to evacuate. So the evacuation plan reveals this individual, who, after inspecting his suitcase, turns out to be named Bill, is a government employee, and this is a government facility. The facility seems to have been designed to continue even if a nuke went off, and the letter implies that they work here every day, though I'm not sure if it means they all worked here before the bombs went off, or not. We'll have to see. The next page begins to detail what they should do if atomic war occurs. They are to drop everything, even a kettle of boiling water, not pack and head straight to this center. It makes no mention of family, so maybe the people who worked here weren't meant to have any, but as we'll soon see, that's not the case. And then it says they will have everything they need. As we will also soon see, that too was not the case. The second bullet point implies there were other centers. Point 3 states they were all ready to be inside before the radiation got too high, and if it does get too high, then seal it. It ends with saying that they're meant to stay here until they all clear. Now what does that echo, you think? Echoes the vaults, that's what it echoes to me. And just like them, the all clear never came. So this was a surveillance center meant to operate after nuclear Armageddon occurred. It's a bit fucking weird, however, that this was meant to be a secret. The barrels and warning sign may keep the odd baldy away, but the fucking entrance is hidden under a bed. Okay, it's not exactly hard to find, you would need to be Sherlock Holmes to do it. Also, the way the note implies, it wasn't locked before the radiation levels got too high, which may explain why Bill got locked out. Either way, the way it's hidden is retarded. Also, Bill is missing one arm. It's not really relevant to anything out here, but it sort of becomes so later. Now let's take a gander at the inside. So, this is it. The surveillance center. And it's only a few meters underground, what? Bill did not have far to go to get to safety, and that is sad. Also hilarious. Ha! Dick. We find a reception area of sorts just as we enter, and it's got some contrasting propaganda, as if the people here needed to be reminded of what side they were on. Also, we find our first corpse, inside. He's lying dead in his chair, and ammunition and a gun can be found in some of the slots in his desk. However, I doubt he shot himself and then had the good manners to put the gun back, so he must have died via other means. A holotape from him can be found on the desk, and it's entitled Employee 011985TP Personal Log. Jesus, what a fucking mouthful.
This is government employee number 011. Screw this government bullshit. This is Pazensky. Sirens, they came so fast. And the alarm. The only ones we could save were on duty. Stevens had left to get something out of his car. Stevens. He's gone. We had to close the door before he could even turn around. Protocol said we had to. I could hear him screaming. That was days ago. We're already running out of food. This place was not as well stocked as they claimed. Goddamn budget cuts. If anyone is listening to this, my name is Jeff Bazetsky. Tell my wife, Wilma, that I love her. Goodbye.
Alright, so the fellow outside was called Bill Stevens, and he was one of the few people actually on duty here. As a result, he should have survived, but the stupid sod went out to get some shite from his car, and he got stuck out there when the radiation levels got too high. This means the place was already in operation before the bombs fell, but all the staff were meant to get here first if they were to survive, and would be given everything they needed. Now, this is clearly not the case, as Jeff says the food only lasted a few days. He most likely starved if we're going on the assumption he did not shoot himself. Also, look, the clocks have all stopped. You know, due to that EMP pulse that nukes cause. You know, the one that never affects terminals. Yeah. So onward into the belly of the beast. So when you arrive, everyone is already dead, and the only things you will encounter here are a few synths. The whole thing goes down about 4 or 5 floors. And honestly, the whole place seems unfinished. By that, I don't mean Bethesda didn't finish it. I mean it was never properly constructed and stocked. Even on this floor, dozens of crates, presumably of supplies, are just lying around the place. The first work area on the left here gives us an idea of the equipment they had at their disposal. Seems top-notch, similar to some other advanced installations we have covered. However, this calendar here, along with the eerily similar sound of the evacuation plan, I can nae but help wonder, did Vault-Tec have a fat finger in all of this? If they did, then I completely understand why the place was not finished. Up ahead, and to the left, is another work area, and outside it and inside is just full of boxes of documents that I assume were meant to be filed away, but due to the hasty nature in which most of the employees showed up here, was not. Or they could just never have got around to it because they're lazy sods. A lot of the desks have radios on them, which I assume play a role in the whole listening thing. The idea may have been for the employees to monitor different frequencies after Armageddon, and determine what was going on out in the greater world, if anyone survived, etc. Though it's clear they did not get very far doing that. Taking the stairs just off the first room down, we come to the second level of the installation. It emerges into another office, and we also get to see our next corpses. So we have 2 people at opposite ends of the room, one of them in a lab coat, the other not. Now of course the coat is Vault-Tec, which makes sense as it's reused a lot. Those calendars, man, making me suspicious. Also, they're missing their arm like Bill is. Now the other dead person has money lying near them and a knocked over box. I am not suggesting they were fighting over the money. Frankly, the way the box is lying beside the corpse, almost as if they pulled it down when they collapsed, and the clipboard with the scientist, it makes me think that death came very quickly to both of these people, though I'm unsure how. The main walkway for this floor has a lot more equipment than the previous one does, and it gets more frequent as you go further down. It also serves to show just how many people were expected to work here, which is a huge sum compared to the paltry few that we find here in the end. Dead. It seems on this floor the documentation and retrieval of information, based on the cameras and radios I assume were used for such, went on much more so than the previous floor. There's also a chance that everything is so turned over, not because of work, but because someone was searching the various cabinets for food that may have been hidden away, though we'll get to that. On the far side of this floor is another room with another corpse. This room does not have a lot of equipment in it, perhaps all part of the undersupplied nature that we talked about. The corpse is lined by what I assume was their desk, and once again reuses the same model as Bill and the other person on the other side of this floor. From the toppled chair and open cabinet, it looks like they died in the middle of their work as well. The room next to this one has more of the equipment I would have expected to be in all of them, along with some food and drink, or at least the remains of it, showing that either the person who died in here did so just before Jeff's holotape, or they were too lazy to clean up after themselves. Shits. The person in question is collapsed out of their chair. Right beside a Tesla coil? An armed Tesla coil, or at least it was. This is the first time we've seen an indication that conflict may have occurred between the workers here, as it's unlikely the synths set this up. This person could have been protecting their food haul from the other residents of the bunker, or protecting themselves from whatever killed everybody else. Now we can head downstairs. However, before we make it all the way down, let's take a wee look on this platform over here. Ignoring the Institute weapon, it seems someone was hiding food up here, or actually taking shelter from the other people here, as previously discussed. Well, time to head down to the bottom floor and have a look around. As soon as we descend the steps, just to our left is another corpse. It looks like they were trying to repair or work on something, so they may have been an engineer of sorts. Now, ignoring the other armor on the ground, I dropped that, and the mini nuke, they were working on this X01 frame, and this is a great place to get good versions of the armor. However, it's leveled, so 40 plus is a good time to come down here and collect it. They seem to have hidden some food at the back here, and on the crate to the left is a bottle of vodka. So they might be dead, but the vodka may have been what put them on their back in the first place. The armor may have been their attempt to protect themselves. 2 protectrons are present down here, and you can activate them to help you get the synths. Further back is yet more unmanned equipment, and maybe some terminals that were being repaired based on how out of the way they were. Perhaps the person back in the corner was fixing them as well. Someone, once again the reused model, is sprawled on these crates, and I can't help but feel they may have jumped or have been thrown from a great height to end up here, so perhaps part of the struggle we talked about. Also, look at some of the equipment still being wheeled about, another example of how unfinished this place was. The terminal simply accesses the protectrons, but the monitors above it interest me. Several are dotted around the place, and I think it's likely they were used for either information display, so everyone could see, or actual communication, though whether text or video, I am not sure. A copy of the Covert Ops Training Manual can also be found here. Ignore that shotgun, I dropped that. So this is the last monitoring area in the bunker, and this time someone actually died while they were on their desk, and they didn't fall out of their chair. Commitment to the job. Also, reused model again for fuck's sake. Come on Bethesda, we expect more of you. All that is left is to take the elevator out of here, but just 2 more things before that. First is the roof. It looks like it was caved in somehow, though it's not exposed on the surface. Still, it opens up the possibility of radiation being the culprit here, and considering this place wasn't even that deep underground, it may still have got in, damaged ceiling or no. Lastly are these 3 monitors. It seems like they were meant to display information for different time zones based on the clocks, but Bethesda just reused the same one 3 times, which I found interesting. So this was Federal Surveillance Center K21-B, or the Abandoned Shack. As you can see from the obviousness of the elevator, it was masterfully concealed. It was a surveillance center that was meant to operate even after the bombs hit, though due to most of the staff not being there, as Jess said, it was mostly unmanned, hence the reason so few are inside. Bill got caught outside, the dumb shit, locked out as per the evacuation instructions, in order to stop the high levels of radiation getting to anyone, though the radiation may have got in anyway. I'm dubious as to whether this bunker would have been safe from radiation given the top part is literally right in the surface, and this was very near the impact site. Jeff did say it was understocked, and as we discussed, it appears it was not even finished, so a lack of food could have killed everyone, as some seemed to die where they worked. Or the radiation did them in. That could have been why the engineer was trying to fix the power armor. Or they needed protection. Think about the room with the Tesla trap. Why set that up? I mean, it didn't look like anyone had any weapons, so it's not like they could have been at a massive disadvantage. Well, wait. One person did. Jeff. Perhaps the ammunition was taken out because he was out of bullets. Perhaps Jeff went round and killed everyone. Perhaps he saw it as a mercy killing when it became apparent they were going to either starve to death or die from radiation. Now this is only speculation, as we do not know what the ultimate fate of these people was. All we have to go on is one holotape, several identical corpses, a suspiciously familiar evacuation notice, and calendars. Lots and lots of Vault-Tec calendars. Yeah, I won't lie, I'm of the opinion Vault-Tec had a dirty paw in fucking this place up. A shining example of the staggering capabilities of pre-war America. I hope you like this look at it. If you did like it, give the video a like, and if you want regular updates, subscribe. Any suggestions for lore or future videos should be left in the comments below. Better yet, go onto my subreddit and we can discuss them in greater detail. It's linked in the description. If you wish to, you can click on the links and go to my Patreon to support me. I ask for $1 or £1, whatever, no more no less. Or if you have any suggestions for rewards or improvements you think can be done to the Patreon, do not hesitate to tell me. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook to get regular updates, or have a wee chat. Any business you wish to discuss, email me at thenthapple.business@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.